Hello friends, I am Arpit and I am here with today's analysis. Today is 24th of October and we are going to deal with three very important topics. The first is International Abhidhamma Divas. This International Abhidhamma Divas was observed on 17th of October. This relates to the teachings of Buddhism. What is Abhidhamma in Buddhism? It pertains to ethical conduct. It pertains to righteousness. And those are one of the cardinal principles of Buddhism. India is blessed to have Buddhism as its originating land. And teachings like these have taken us forward in the present day world also. Delegates from multiple countries enjoined, and the Indian Prime Minister was also present on this particular day. Next is Supreme Court ruling on child betrothals. Child betrothals simply mean when the children they come in the contractual marriage before the legal age of marriage is attained. It's like parents are vowing and promising, and once they attain legal age, they will be handed over to each other. Now, Supreme Court has highlighted that the Prevention of Child Marriage Act is not sufficient in tackling child betrothals because child betrothals take away the fundamental right of these children of choosing their partners. So the Supreme Court has urged the government of India to make necessary amendments in the Prevention of Child Marriage Act. Next is Naseem Al Bahr naval exercise. This Naseem Al Bahr naval exercise is an exercise between India and Oman. It is a bilateral exercise, and this is going to be conducted in the Arabian Sea region. This highlights the fact that India wants to increase its naval influence in the Indian Ocean region. After all, India's western sea line of communication passes through the Arabian Sea. There is a lot of disturbances, like for example by the Houthis in the Red Sea in this region. So the navies should be prepared for any kind of emergency or exigency like situations and if need be tackle these kind of situations collectively. This also highlights India's increasing partnership with countries like Oman in West Asia, which is very much important for India. Then we will be dealing with the MCQs and then the discussions to the answers of MCQs of yesterday. The first, International Abhidhamma Divas. So this International Abhidhamma Divas was observed on 17th of October 2024 and it was celebrated globally to honor the significance of Abhidhamma in guiding ethical conduct and mental discipline. So Abhidhamma is basically those teachings of Buddhism which guide us on ethical conduct or mental discipline. Buddhism being the birthplace, India being the birthplace of Buddhism, is home to numerous sacred sites that reflect profound spiritual legacy. Buddha attained enlightenment over here, Bodh Gaya. Then he gave sermons over here, and he, roamed about the country and spread Buddhism also. After his death, the legacy was carried on by various followers and disciples. So the core of the Buddhist teachings entails Abhidhamma, that is ethical conduct. As simple as that. Now, historical significance. The celebration commemorates Lord Buddha's descent from the Tavatimsa Devaloka, celestial realm, to Sankasya in Uttar Pradesh, a moment marked by the Ashokan elephant pillar. So it was believed that Ashoka went on to teach the deities also, and one among the deities was his mother. So according to Theravada Buddhist text, Buddha spent 3 months teaching the Abhidhamma to the deities, including his mother. The observance coincides with the conclusion of the rainy retreat, that is Vasa, and the Pavarana festival, during which monks and nuns conclude their retreat. So this coincides with all that. Now, teachings of Abhidhamma, or they are also referred to as higher teaching, offers a systematic analysis of mind and matter, diverging from the everyday language of Sutta Pitaka to more analytical approach. So Pitakas are basically interpretations of the Buddhist texts. So there are multiple Pitakas, Vinaya Pitaka, Sutta Pitaka, and all. We will see, Abhi. And this Abhidham Pitaka is basically different from Sutta and Vinay Pitaka, and it obviously delves into the existing, into the nature of existing, addressing birth, death, and mental phenomena with precision. And in all this, ethical guidance is very much the core. The key concepts over here are Sitta, that is consciousness, Seta Sikka, that is mental factors, Rupa, that is materiality, and Nibbana, also known as Nirvana, final liberation. These terms create a specialized vocabulary that helps practitioners gain deeper insights into Buddhism philosophy or Buddhist philosophy and psychology. The historical context. Traditionally, it is believed that Buddha first taught the Abhidhamma to gods in Tavatimsa. As I said, that he went to teach these for 3 months in, I would say, heaven, kind of. Okay. And later to his disciple Sariputta, who expanded upon it in the Abhidham Pinaka, a collection of texts covering various aspects of mental states, aggregates, and causal relationships. Now, modern observance and celebrations, how and why we are, observing it. So, we have been observing it since I would say 2021. In 2021, PM Modi participated in celebrations at the Nirvana temple in Kushinagar, reflecting on Buddha's enduring relevance in addressing contemporary issues like climate change, promoting compassion. All these, things can be addressed by ethical, I would say, approach, which is there in the Abhidham Pitaka, or what actually Abhidham means. So on October 17, 2024, Vigyan Bhavan in New Delhi hosted International Abhidhamma Divas, organized by Ministry of Culture in collaboration with the International Buddhist Confederation. This year is particularly significant due to the recognition of Pali as a classical language. So what is the connection between Pali and Buddhism? Basically, the Buddhist text, the ancient Buddhist text which we were talking about, the Abhidham Pitaka, Vinaya Pitaka, Sutta Pitaka, are in Pali language. So this year Pali was recognized as a classical language, which we covered it a few days ago. Now, key features. Prime Minister Narendra Modi led the proceedings. This is basically 2024, emphasizing the relevance of Abhidhamma teachings. The event featured around 1,000 participants from 14 countries, including ambassadors, monks, and scholars. Activities include a Dhamma discourse and academic sessions focusing on significance of Abhidhamma in the modern world and the role of Pali. Now, exhibitions showcase the evolution of Pali and highlight the life and teachings of Buddha. Now, importance of Pali. The Abhidhamma and its teaching are closely linked to Pali, recognized recently as a classical languages in India. And, we saw that apart from Pali, languages like Bengali or, I think 4 or 5 other languages were recognized as classical languages. So, importance of Pali or connection of Pali with Buddhism is that the ancient Buddhist texts are in the Pali language. It was spoken somewhere around the 3rd century BC in the country as well. The Pali literature, the Buddhist canon, particularly the Tripitaka, Tripitakas, threefold baskets, is composed in Pali. Vinaya Pitaka, which is having monastic rules. Sutta Pitaka, Buddha's discourses are there. Abhidham Pitaka, ethical and psychological analysis, which we are talking about, is there. So these three are in the Pali language. Pali literature also includes Jataka Kathas, the Jataka tales, famous Jataka tales, which narrate Buddha's previous lives and shared moral values are there in those Jataka tales, is also in the Pali language. So that is the importance and significance of Pali, and I hope now we are able to correlate that why Pali has been, I would say, labeled as a classical language. Now the next piece of news is Supreme Court's ruling on child betrothals. Child marriages, so we know when you know an underage boy marries an underage girl, what is the age? For boys it is 21 years, for girls it is 18 years. So if marriage happens before this particular age, respectively for boys and girls, then we call it as child marriage. Where is this age mentioned? This age is mentioned in the Prevention of Child Marriage Act, and it is also mentioned in other such laws like Hindu Marriage Act and all. But what if, the parents of these children decide at an early age, when they are obviously kids, small kids, 4, 5 years, 6 years, that we will marry our kids. They vow to each other. At times there are contracts also, and everything is noted down. Ki bhai, we have done this contract with each other and we are going to marry our kids when they grow up, as soon as they achieve or attain the age of marriage. So it seems like the parents are too much in a hurry to get their children married. Now here two things are being, questioned. One is the fundamental rights of those children. They are not having that, freedom to choose their own partners, because their, wishes will never be taken into consideration because their families have already vowed to each other. And second is early marriages. As soon as the girl attains 18 or as soon as the boy attains 21, they're married. This early marriage leads to early pregnancies. Early pregnancies can lead to maternal mortality. The pregnant woman can die because she is very young and her body is not prepared to give birth to a child. So, in all this, and pregnancy is very complicated. So, in all this, there can be a possibility that she dies. That is called as maternal mortality. Or what if the child which she is bearing is dead? That is called as infant mortality. So, these kind of, I would say, indicators highlight the socio-economic development of any country, not only India, but any country. And these kind of cultural practices like betrothals will not let these indicators to be better and better. Probably that's why the Supreme Court has stepped in and said that the government needs to rethink on these lines. There need to be adequate amendments in the Prevention of Child Marriage Act to accommodate provisions with respect to betrothals also. So, on October 18, 2024, the Supreme Court of India addressed the issue of child betrothals, recognizing them as a loophole that allows for evasion of penalties under the Prohibition of Child Marriage Act. This ruling of the Supreme Court emphasized the need for legislative changes, means amendments have to be done in this particular act, that is Prevention of Child Marriage Act. Now, definition of child betrothals. They refer to practice of arranging marriages for children, typically before they reach the legal age. This often involves formal agreements between families, leading to situations where children may be forced into marriage without fully understanding or consenting to the arrangement. How will a kid know that what marriage is? Obviously, nothing. But that kid is forced into marriage because the parents are consenting to it. That is betrothals. They do not stay together with each other. They stay with their own parents only. But as soon as they attain the age of marriage, minimum age of marriage, then they start staying together. Then they start living as a married couple. But as I said, that two things are in question over here. One, the rights of the children to choose their partners. Second, early, I would say, marriages, or early, I would say, staying together just as the girl has attained 18 years of age. So she's staying with her husband. So, high amount of chances of getting pregnant. So early pregnancies are a big question. Now, key points over here. The judicial finding, Supreme Court led by CJI, G.Y. Chandrachud, found that the PCMA, that is Prevention of Child Marriage Act, is insufficient in addressing child betrothals, noting that these practices are frequently exploited to bypass legal penalties for child marriage. So they say that, we are not marrying, they are not going to stay each other, but we are just coming in a contract with each other. Those are child betrothals. So that when they achieve or when they attain the age of marriage, then they will be staying together. Parliamentary action has been urged. The court urged Parliament to amend the PCMA to explicitly ban child betrothals, declaring that such arrangements violate a child's free choice and undermine their childhood. Classification as minors in need. The judgment proposes classifying children whose marriages are arranged as minors in need of care and protection under the Juvenile Justice Act. The historical context ruling also highlighted that despite international acknowledgement of the issue since the Convention of Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, this was CEDAW in 1977, India has not adequately addressed the issue of child betrothals. That needs to be addressed. Background on Prohibition of Child Marriage Act. The legal framework, PCMA, established in 2006, defines girls under 18 and boys under 21 as children and criminalizes child marriage as a social evil. Current challenges: government's attempt to clarify the precedents of PCMA over personal laws have not yet been formally adopted. So there are certain communities in India who say that this is according to our tradition and culture. This is in our personal laws. We do not consider PCMA. So what to keep above, PCMA or the personal laws? That is a big question in front of the government. And here comes the importance of Uniform Civil Code. So, Uniform Civil Code will be that code which will deal with the personal aspects of the people's life. Personal aspects like marriage, divorce, inheritance of property, adoption of children. So, no personal laws will exist then this ambiguity will not be there, or this, I would say, challenge will not be there in front of the government. There will be one law, and that one law will be applicable to one and all in the same manner, whichever religion you belong to, whichever community you belong to. The Supreme Court has been asking the government to bring in the Uniform Civil Code at the central level. Obviously, it is not there, but yes, some states like Uttarakhand and all, they have brought in. Goa already has established the Uniform Civil Code. So, it is this way that has the answers to tackle these current challenges with respect to this. Impacts of child marriages, boys and girls. The court recognized that child marriages affect both genders, often leading to violence against young brides and significant societal pressure on boys as well. Health and well-being. Marriages impose adult responsibilities on minors, detracting from their childhood experiences, education, and overall well-being. Recommendations from the court. There should be sexuality education or sexual education, implement age appropriate and culturally sensitive sexuality education in schools so that children at the younger age learn the importance of, I would say, this particular domain. Community initiatives, launch campaigns such as child marriage free village to raise awareness and combat the practice at the grassroots level. Online reporting, establish a reporting portal for child marriages to facilitate timely interventions. Compensation schemes, create a compensation scheme for girls who opt out of child marriages. An annual budget, allocate annual funds to prevent child marriages and support affected individuals. So let's see how many of these recommendations get fulfilled. But yes, one such recommendation which is good, that is online reporting. That should be there, and this can increase the accountability. This can increase transparency also. Now, certain facts about child marriages in India. Prevalence, while PCMA has led to a decline in child marriages, it was earlier 47% to now 23.3% since its enactment. Challenges persist in effectively enforcing the law. One of the challenges, whether it is above personal laws or not. Government efforts, initiatives like Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, and the establishment of child marriage prohibition officers aim to raise awareness and enforce the act. Now, this is basically the statistics with respect to this, but yes, uh, we are, I would say, touching 80 years of independence. By 2027, we will be 80 years of independence, and 2047, 100 years of independence. But if these kind of social evils are still existing, which in the name of culture are glorified, are promoted, and it has devastating impacts on the life of the children, I would say, both male and female. Female more because she has to undergo mental violence, or she can undergo physical violence as well. She becomes more vulnerable. And if she, gets early pregnancy, then her life is also at threat. In fact, the child inside her womb, the child's life is also at threat. So we need to understand Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao should not be only a jumla. It should be, a reality at the ground level. And who is going to make it a reality? We, the people. No government, no political party, no court, whether supreme, high, or district court, but we, the people. There needs to be behavioral changes. Then only there will be impacts at the grassroots level. And the last topic is Naseem Al Bahr naval exercise. This naval exercise is a bilateral naval exercise between India and Oman. And October 13 to 18, the Indian Navy conducted a bilateral naval exercise named as this. And from Indian Navy side, INS Thrikand and a Dornier maritime patrol aircraft was part of it, alongside Omani vessel RNOV Al Seeb. Exercise was in two phases. First was the harbor phase, October 13 to 15, included professional interactions between personnel from both navies, featured subject matter expert exchanges and planning conferences, and involved sports fixtures and social engagements to foster the camaraderie between the two, I would say, countries' defense, I would say, personnels. Second was the sea phase, October 16 to 18, conducted various naval evolutions, including gun firings at surface, inflatable targets, close range anti aircraft firings, maneuvers, and replenishment at sea approaches. So, all these were there. The helicopter from INS Trikan participated in cross decked landings and vertical replenishments with RNOV Al-Seeb. Indian Navy's Dornier aircraft provided over the horizon targeting data to enhance operational coordination. Indian Navy Sea Riders joined RNOV Al-Seeb for a day to further promote interoperability. Interoperability simply means that we know how they operate, they know how we operate. So that in the times of, I would say, emergency or in the times of operation, we know the standard operating procedures of each other. Outcomes. The exercise was deemed a success, achieving several key objectives. Enhanced interoperability, improved operational coordination between the two navies, mutual understanding, fostered a better understanding of each other's operational practices and protocols, strengthened cohesion, reinforced the partnership between the Indian Navy and the Royal Navy of Oman. Generic these are. Now coming on to the MCQs. What does Abhidhamma signify? Sacrifice, self awareness, abstinence, or none of the above. Second question. Consider the following pairs and mark how many are correctly matched. Sutta Pitaka, monastic rules. Vinay Pitaka, Buddha's discourse. Abhidham Pitaka, ethical analysis. So only one pair is correctly matched, two pairs are correctly matched, three pairs are correctly matched, or none of the pairs are correctly matched. Consider the following statements and mark the correct one. All the Pitakas are in Pali language. The Jatakas were written in Sanskrit. It is simple, but yes, you need to be aware about these facts. The fourth question, consider the following statements and mark the correct one. Incidences of child marriages in India have come down after the passage of Prevention of Child Marriage Act. The minimum age for marriage for boys, that is 21, girls, that is 18, is mentioned in the Prevention of Child Marriage Act. Which of these statements are true? And the last question, consider the following statements with respect to Naseem Al Bahr naval exercise and mark the correct one. This is a trilateral exercise between India, UAE, and Oman. India participated with INS Arihant in the 2024 edition. So, out of these, which are correct? Now, the MCQs of yesterday. Consider the following statements with respect to AQI and mark the correct one. AQI was introduced in 2014. This is correct. As part of Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, this is also correct. So, this statement is correct. AQI includes 8 pollutants, including carbon dioxide. It does not include carbon dioxide. Carbon monoxide is there. So, this statement is wrong and hence only one is going to be the correct option. Which of these pollutants are part of AQI? So, as I said, carbon monoxide is there. So, yes, this is there. PM 2.5, PM 10 is there. Lead is there. Methane is not there. So, carbon monoxide, PM 2.5, PM 10, lead, then we have NH3 as a pollutant, then we have SO2, NO2, these as pollutants, and we have ozone. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These 8 are there. So, 1, 2, and 3 is going to be the correct option. So, last, that is D, is the correct option for this. Third question, which is the administrative authority over GRAP, that is Graded Response Action Plan? Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change? No, it has formulated it. Commission for Air Quality Management is the correct answer. State Government of NCT of Delhi? No. National Green Tribunal? Obviously no. So B is going to be the correct answer for this. Fourth, consider the following statements with respect to GRAP and mark the correct one. GRAP follows the airshed approach. So this airshed approach is basically what? See, if GRAP is applicable in Delhi, it is not only applicable in Delhi, it is applicable in the adjoining areas, Delhi NCR, like Gurgaon, Noida, Faridabad. Airshed approach is the pollution is there not only over Delhi, but it is over these adjoining areas also. And all of them collectively need to tackle this. That is what airshed approach means. So, this statement is correct. During emergency phase, the adjoining states of Delhi NCR are also mandated to implement provisions of GRAP. So, yes, this statement is also correct that during the most severe, that is emergency phase of GRAP, the adjoining states of Rajasthan, Haryana, UP and Punjab also are expected to implement GRAP. And since CAQM, that is Commission for Air Quality Management, can issue binding orders to the state governments, so the CAQM, which is responsible for administering GRAP, can make these states implement. So both these statements are correct. And with this, we have come to an end of today's session. I will be seeing you tomorrow now. I will be covering the outcomes of the BRICS summit, the Kazan outcomes, and the Kazan declaration basically, and obviously Indian Prime Minister's bilateral meeting with the Russian president and the Chinese president, most importantly. So this will be there in tomorrow's class. So till then, you guys very well know what to do. Namaste. Jai Hind.